Eyup FretHeads. When I first learnt the major scale, nobody explained what it actually creates. I could play the notes, but I didn't understand why the same 7 chords kept turning up in every key. But once I learned the pattern hiding inside the scale, then everything finally came together. Scales, chords, arpeggios, intervals, all part of one idea. Now, over the years, I've taught this to thousands of guitar players, and it's cleared up years of confusion for many of them. So by the end of this lesson, you will know how to harmonize a major scale and how to work out the quality of every chord. And as well as that, how to rebuild all 7 chords in any key without guessing. First, we need to understand the ingredients. We need the major scale. Let's begin with something simple. The major scale gives you 7 unique notes. I'm going to use C major because it keeps everything neat and tidy and there are no sharps or flats. That means I need the notes C, D, E, F, G, A and B. Now, if you number them from 1 to 7, you set up the framework that everything else depends on. These 7 notes are the full set of ingredients. You don't need to bring anything in from outside the key. Every chord we're going to create comes from this list. Now, I say chord, but we could use the word triads. But we need to know how triads are built. Now, a triad is just 3 notes taken from the scale using a stacked thirds idea. Some musicians think thirds mean the 3rd note in the scale. That is not it. A third is an interval. It's the distance from one note to another. So to build a triad, what we do is we use the leapfrog method. We pick a note, we skip the next, and then we take the next. This gives you a root, a 3rd, and a 5th. Let's try it with C. C, skip D, take E, skip F, take G, C, E, and G. That is a triad. Now repeat this starting on each scale degree and you get 7 triads. That is what harmonizing the major scale means. You're simply stacking thirds across the scale. Now I've mentioned thirds, and there are 2 kinds of thirds that we need to know about, major and minor thirds. To understand why these triads sound different, you need to know the difference between a major third and a minor third. A major third is 2 whole steps. A minor third is 1.5 steps. Major is the larger interval. Minor is the smaller one. And once you recognize those intervals, you can tell exactly what quality each triad will have. Now, I really like using this cool little memory tool called the Circle of Thirds. And there's a helpful mnemonic that I devised that shows the sequence of thirds. And it goes, every good band deserves fans and cash. So I can spell that out, E, G, B, D, F, A, C, and then back to E. This helps you to find the root, 3rd and 5th of any triad quickly. Plus, the bonus is you can adapt it to any key by adding the sharps or flats that belong to that key. So, how do these help us to determine the chord quality? Well, the quality of a chord depends on the interval between the root and the 3rd. If the root to the 3rd is a major third, then the chord is major. If the root to the 3rd is a minor third, the chord is minor. The interval between the 3rd and the 5th flips depending on the first interval. So a major chord gives you a major third, then a minor third. And a minor chord gives you a minor third, then a major third. And if you stack 2 minor thirds, you get wobbly bob, the diminished chord. So let's harmonize C major. C to E is a major third and E to G is a minor third. So we get C major. We're going to call this the 1 chord. D to F is a minor third, F to A is a major third, so we get D minor. That's the 2 chord. E to G is a minor third, G to B is a major third, so we get E minor, the 3 chord. F to A is a major third, A to C is a minor third, so we get F major, the 4 chord. G to B is a major third, B to D is a minor third, so we get G major, the 5 chord. A to C is a minor third, C to E is a major third, so we get A minor, the 6 chord. And lastly, B to D is a minor third and D to F is another minor third, so we get B diminished, the 7 chord. This is the complete harmonized major scale. Now, to keep track of these chords across all keys, musicians use Roman numerals. We use uppercase for major chords and lowercase for minor chords. And it's good to know that we also use lowercase with a small circle for diminished. This works in every key. The numerals describe the function, not the letter name. So what do I mean by function? We get functional groups within the key. 3 chords form the primary triads. Those are 1, 4 and 5. And those 3 triads shape most of the movement of the chord progressions within a key. The secondary group is the 2, 3 and 6 chords. These are called the secondary triads, and those often support or connect the primary triads. And the leading note chord is chord 7. And this feels unstable because of the diminished fifth, which is why it's called a diminished chord. Understanding these groups help you hear why chord progressions resolve the way they do. Now guys, that's been a lot of theory. In every major key, the chord qualities follow the same order. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. And if you forget everything else, just remember that. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. But the real strength is knowing how to rebuild it using stacked thirds, because then you never need to rely on memorization again. If this finally made sense of the major scale, then the next step is to see how these chords move on the guitar neck. And I have a video that shows you this one pattern that lets you play major and minor chords everywhere on the neck. Click on the video in the screen and I'll take you through to it now.